I think I'm sort of lopsided on this sofa. I think that's it. All right, I'm wriggling about. I think we're live and I'm wriggling about. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, welcome to Story Time with Rosemary. That's me, for those of you who are wondering. Who is that gorgeous creature, you're wondering? Who is that gorgeous creature? All sunny and bright, and I know spring is on the way. Spring is on the way. It's my daughter's birthday. Is it next week or the week after? April the 7th. And I have to tell you that when she was a little girl, that was the sign for spring. Her birthday, April 7th, was the beginning of spring. Whether it was cold, whether it was snowing, which it sometimes was. In fact, when I had her, I was in the hospital and it was snowing for a week in that first week of April when she was born. And it was only when I came out of the hospital that the sun started shining. So snow, rain, whatever it is, whatever the weather was, and sometimes it was really cold. That was the day, regardless of weather, when she went from winter to summer. And I would put her in her little summer dresses. I would always be so excited. She'd always have a new dress for her birthday, little white shoes. She wore little white sandals until she was, I want to say 26, but I'm kidding. Until she was, sort of at least, I don't know, 14, 15, 16, something. When she begged me to stop making her wear them. I'm just kidding. But she would wear her little summer dresses, and of course I was a knitter, as you all know, and so I would knit her these gorgeous white cardigans. She was all in white or pastel colours until she was quite an age. You know, people don't do that anymore, do they? When I was young with my child, all babies wore pastels, pale pinks, pale blues, white. My daughter wore white until she was 10 months old, and then I put her into careful, gentle, pale, beautiful pastel colours. And now, you see 3-month-old babies wearing jeans and rock and roll t-shirts, and it's so alien to me. This is so alien to me. I sort of like, I'm just one of those people. I like a baby to look like a baby, to be like a baby, and although kids are cute in these modern clothes that they wear, I just like babies to be babies, really, and for as long as possible, which is why I didn't want Samantha to ever grow up. Why am I going on about this? Because spring is coming, people, and time to smile, smile, smile. Now it's hard, isn't it? Because we're all talking about this coronavirus. We're all getting ourselves really worked up and wound up about this. But today we're having a story time, and we're having this particular story. I'm going to tell you a particular story because, um, excuse me, it's still there. That's a wretched cough because um, our we're putting up our first meditation on YouTube, not on YouTube, on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, you name it. We're just waiting for confirmation. We've uploaded it, and when I say we, I mean Michelle has. She's staring at me there. She has uploaded or downloaded or whatever it all is, and we're just waiting for confirmation. And then you can go into whichever, wherever you get your music from, and all you have to do is type in a journey towards healing. And this is my very first meditation tape, a journey towards healing. Don't worry, I shall remind you about it before we go. When I did that, what inspired me to do my first meditation was, and some of you have heard this story before, but what inspired me was I had a patient, Wendy, who was dying of cancer, very, very close to the end. And one day she was in bed, very sick, decided that she wouldn't get up today. She was too sick. She felt too ill to get up out of bed. And so she was listening to the radio, and who should come on to the radio doing a radio interview but me. And she listened to this interview. I don't remember which city I was even in, could have been anywhere. But she was listening to this radio interview with me, and as she heard my voice, her husband told me she began to feel better and better and better. And by the time the interview was over, she felt great. Now, it happened that I went to visit her on my way home from this interview. I went to visit her, and she was up, she was smiling, she looked great, and she told me, both she and her husband told me the story of how she couldn't get out of bed, but she heard my voice and it really inspired her. So I went home and I sat in my kitchen, and I had, we're going back a while now. I sat in my kitchen. I had two tape recorders, one that I could play music on, and one that I could record into. So as I was doing this meditation, of course, with my spirit guide Grey Eagle always by my side, as I was doing this meditation and being inspired by Grey Eagle and him, the two of us working to make this something really special. Sort of soft music in the background. It was very, very amateurish. But as I was doing the meditation, I was so inspired by Grey Eagle and by his presence and by, some of the things that we were discussing together. And since that time, of course, again, amateur time, but what I did was then I took this little tape that I'd made another one, and took the one I had to Wendy, and she would use it several times a day, and right up to the very end, to her passing, she actually used that tape, and it just made her feel, in her words, not mine, it made her feel absolutely great, and helped her through that sickness, helped her through all the trauma and the difficulties. It also, believe it or not, helped her family. And I've had many patients since. Angie, who was told that she only had 5 years at the outside to live, and that was something like 30 years ago. And she's still going strong, I'm pleased to say. It's, the meditations that I do are specifically for healing. They are specifically, and when I say healing, I don't necessarily mean you've got to have something that you're really, dying from, anxiety, panic, inability to relax. And especially in this day and age, we thought that it would be really appropriate, especially with what's going on in our lives today. We thought it would be the perfect time and very appropriate to sort of make this available to as many people as we could, which is why iTunes and Amazon and all of those. You have to tell me, but you see me looking down, I'm looking at Michelle, who's underneath my iPad as I'm doing this. So anyway, so all right. So now, one of the reasons we decided to do this morning was because we did have a few glitches on Thursday. We were not sure if it was us, what we were doing, because we're doing this from a distance now, because Michelle's in her home and I'm in mine. Did we do something? Could we have fixed it? But it turns out that actually it was an issue with YouTube. But we know that I told some stories, and I know that a lot of you commented. There were a lot of people asking questions. You couldn't get into the chat room. So we are going to address those briefly, Michelle, if you wouldn't mind. And then, are we going to address them, or did you get them all up, or no?
I've got some of them.
Okay, so we'll do one or two of them then. Then I'm going to tell you a story which pertains to this amazing healing meditation, and I'm not boasting about it, but I've seen it work. I've seen it work again and again and again. I'm going to tell you an amazing story about it helped someone in the most incredible way. But before we do that, Michelle, do we have any questions, comments? Do we have anybody watching? I mean, is there anybody there? I love saying that.
There is about 9 people on.
Okay, great. We always laugh. I think I said this the other day. We look and we see there are 9 people, and then when it's ended, we see that there's been 200 or 300 views or whatever it is, but people checking in and so on. So I never worry about the numbers. So anyway, let's go.
Okay, talk for a minute.
Pardon? Oh, you get them up then, and I'm going to. Maybe I'll tell my story first, and then we'll do this after, right?
Yeah, because when I went into this one, it was supposed to be a quick question, and it's not. So.
All right. So I'm going to tell the story. Get your questions and comments ready, and we shall continue. I shall continue as long as you join me. In other words, you got to put out the questions. You've got to join in. You've got to participate, because that's what this is all about. So here is the first story in our story time corner, as Michelle calls it, story time with Rosemary. So no names, but okay, I was in New Hampshire, and I was at a workshop there, and so many people. I can't even count how many people there were. So many people, and I was there for sort of a few days. At the end of the first day, a knock came at the door, and there was a lady asking to see me, and she just wanted to tell me her story. So here it is. So these stories, although they are mine, and although I do get involved in them, they're really other people's stories, which are much more fascinating than my own stories anyway. So this lady told me about her mother. So her mother apparently had an accident, and as far as I can recall, she fell down the stairs, and she broke her wrist. She did something to her wrist. Long story very short, because I can't tell an hour-long story, can I? So this lady also had lots of other health issues and health problems. One of which was that she had something wrong with her lungs. I don't recall what it was, whether it was severe asthma or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. The point was that she needed surgery on her hand, because the way her daughter described it to me, her hand now was literally turned, the way that it had broken and the way that they tried to fix it so that she wouldn't be in too much pain until they could give her surgery. Her hand was literally on backwards. It had twisted around, and now it was on backwards. So it's sort of, anyway, however. She obviously needed surgery. She was in a great deal of pain, but there was a severe danger. They couldn't give her anesthetic. And can you imagine that they would have to break the wrist again? They would have to go in there, cut and slice or whatever they did. They would have to turn the hand back, connect all the tissue, all the nerve endings and so on. This is not a short surgery. And all while she was awake. My brother was in a similar situation, because he was actually hit by a car in a car park of all things, and he has severe issues with his lungs. He's in his 80s, and he couldn't have anesthetic either, but that's a whole other story. So it does happen to people that people have to have surgeries where they cannot, for one reason or another, have anesthetic. Some people are actually allergic to anesthetic. So they talked to the mother, and she was sort of an older lady, and as I say, struggling with all sorts of health issues. And she said, well, I think there is a solution if you would allow it. Unbeknownst to me, her daughter was telling me this story. Her mother was a fan of mine. She knew me, and she had read all my books. She'd listened to all of my meditations. And so she said, there is a solution if you would allow me to play this meditation. I think I might be able to get through it. So the surgeons were very obliging, nurses, doctors, everybody was very obliging. They just wanted to do the best they could for her. So they rigged it up so that in the operating room, she had on headphones, and she had on a little machine. And they rigged it so that CD would just keep playing over and over and over. It would go round and round and not stop. I don't ask me how they did that, but and she also was able to turn it on or off if she so choose. So she had it on her chest and using it with the one hand if she needed to. As I say, the thing just kept playing and playing continuously. The surgery took um, hours. I'm not sure how long, but it took an awfully long time. They literally broke a wrist, basically sawed a hand. I don't know if they took it right off, but certainly, this is not a pretty story, is it? Certainly, they had to remove the hand, turn it, stitch it back on, get all the nerves endings together. Can you imagine the intricacy of this? Can you imagine the pain of this? Now, if some of you will remember, last year when my grandson was here, I put a knife through my finger and almost cut my finger off. The pain, the excruciating pain was dreadful. That's just a little finger. Can you imagine with a whole hand, somebody doing that? All the while, this lady lay on the bed and listened to the meditation going round and around and around and around. She did some breathing exercises and she was able to get through it. Not, I wouldn't say easily, but she got through it. She was able to move past the pain. She was able to take herself into this meditation. When I say she was able to move past the pain, if you are a person who has done spiritual exercises, if you are a person who knows something about the things that we can do, that we are in control of our body, it is possible to raise our level of consciousness and to actually remove ourselves. Now, when people go into comas, that is what they do. They are literally raising their level of consciousness and they're moving themselves out of the pain or out of the trauma or out of the difficulties that they're in to give themselves a respite. And through this meditation and through playing this meditation, this lady was able to remove herself. She was able to raise her level of consciousness, and she got through this, what sounds like an horrendous surgery. The doctors were astounded because she barely showed any distress. She just let them get on with it. She just had put herself in this place, which is where this meditation will take you. This meditation has been used in homes and hospitals throughout the world. I've never had anyone tell me that it doesn't work. One of my patients, Angie, who I mentioned earlier, she used to play it all the time. And even when she was in the supermarket, if she was out in the park, she didn't have her player with her, she knew it by heart and she would say it to herself all the time. And her daughter, who was at that time 10 or 11 years old, she would sort of play it and they would sing the music and they would do the meditation, which went such a long way to helping Angie to survive the real severe illness that she had. So if you are anxious, if you are in trauma, if you are struggling, meditations are a really, really good way. Not necessarily mine. We have 5 of them that we're going to produce, send out to all of those places, Amazon, Spotify. Never even heard of Spotify, to be honest. iTunes, etc., etc. And we're going to be releasing them over the next few weeks. Before then, we're then going to be releasing some books on tape with my dulcet little tones. These meditations, you will hear me talking you through the meditations, and the music is beautiful. Music was donated by a wonderful guy who often was in the recording studio with me, and he would create the music for me. And every meditation has different music. but it's inspired music. It's not music that's been written down. It's not, it's not music that was produced specifically for them. Every single thing you hear on these meditations is spontaneous. When I finally recorded A Journey Towards Healing, I went into somebody's house. Actually, he had a little studio in his house. We sat in his hallway because that was where the sound was the best. And I sat on a stool and I did the meditation, and he so was, going through, and he was in the other room. He was playing the music, but I could hear the music. And we did it perfectly, and for whatever reason we timed it perfectly so that it actually, without any breaks whatsoever, it fit on the tape. But the wonderful thing about this particular meditation, A Journey Towards Healing, is that as I was sitting on my little stool in somebody's hallway with him in the next room with the music and so on and so forth, it was a surreal experience. As I, just prior to me beginning, of course, Grey Eagle was there. He was waving the baton. He was setting the pace. He was giving me an indication of how slowly, or how, sort of what tempo I should be talking at. He was encouraging, but he was able to just literally, it was almost like a conductor. Well, he was a conductor, conducting this incredible music, this incredible meditation. It was beautiful. And as we're going through it, and as we're talking, all of a sudden Grey Eagle is standing in front of me. He's got this little baton, and we're having such a lot of fun. We're enjoying this completely. And as I'm doing this, suddenly there was Wendy looking at me, smiling, smiling, smiling. When Wendy passed, in her will, they were not wealthy by any means, just a very ordinary family, but she'd asked her husband to put aside £100, which is like the equivalent of 120 or 30, 120 or 130 dollars, specifically so that I could go and make this CD, that I could pay someone to record it for me, which is exactly what we used it for. And so she was there when this thing was being created. So I wanted it to be the first of our meditations. I wanted it to be the first one to go out there on iTunes and so on and so forth. And I wanted it to be the first one that all of you who know nothing about any of it, and didn't even probably know that I did meditations, but I am a healer after all, so why wouldn't I? But I wanted you all to know that this is how it was made, this is why it was made, and it's a very, very special, special thing for me. Imagine, though, going through that surgery and the fact that I know that this meditation, brought about by Wendy's good grace, and with the help of Grey Eagle, was able to help this lady in this awful situation. It was able to calm her and to help her, and it was able to help to raise herself up and out of her body so that she was not able to feel that pain as she would normally have done. So it's very special. So I think that's the end of I could go on and on about this particular meditation, because, as I've said, my meditations go out into homes and hospitals all around the world, but it has affected so many people. So if you are stressed, if you are troubled, if you don't know what to do, if you're scared, if you're panicking or what have you, please search through the meditations that you can find. I cannot particularly recommend anyone else's, but there are tons and tons out there. Find one that works for you, or, as I've said, just go to Amazon, or I love Amazon. Don't you love Amazon? Go to Amazon or go to iTunes or go to all of those places and type in A Journey Towards Healing by Rosemary Altea, and it should pop up. If you can't find it today, try tomorrow. We're still waiting for notifications, right, Michelle? So Yep.
Yeah, it was uploaded yesterday because we had to change the release date to today
Okay. So
because of how long it takes to process it.
right. So it's an amazing process. This is such a long, drawn out thing. We've been trying to do this for weeks now, but anyway, finally, and it should be, the release date is today, so it should be up today. So if you do get it, just put yourself into a chair or put yourself just anywhere you like, really, and listen and let yourselves go and just raise your level of consciousness, just get into it and allow it to take you to special places, allow it to help you to, at the very least, relax and feel easier with yourself. When I was in England about 5 or 6 years ago or something, and I can't remember exactly when it was, but I collapsed and I have kidney issues, and I'd got apparently this kidney stone, which was 12 millimeters by 7 millimeters. I know a friend of mine said, oh gosh, it's the size of a piece of jewelry. It was an old stone, and I have, only one kidney, so not such an easy thing to deal with. And I had to have sort of really weird surgeries. But when I collapsed, I was in so much pain. And I remember I was in the hospital in England with 2 American friends and an English friend of mine sort of gathered around the bed. And the only way that I could deal with the pain, and of course, through meditation, you can learn to do this. Anyone can learn to do this. I just had to put myself in a whole different place. So raising my level of consciousness, tuning in with the spirit world, in my case, specifically tuning in with Grey Eagle, I was able to lift myself out of my body and take myself to a whole other place where I didn't feel the pain, and I was able to deal with it. Of course, then you've got to come back, and then the pain's there again, but still, really learning to raise your level of consciousness and learning to use these meditations that people have out there. Some of them are really fantastic, some of them are not so good, but find something that works for you, because it really does work. I think a journey towards healing, I think it lasts less than an hour, I think.
It's about 45 minutes.
Thank you. There we are. It's about 45 minutes. So it's not as if you're giving up a whole mess of a day. And if you feel just like you just want to chill out and you're in bed, you're awake, but you don't want to get up yet, switch it on, play it, let it take you to a whole different place. Let it do its magic for you, because I do believe that there's a little bit of magic. Thank you, Wendy, wherever you are. There is a little bit of magic in this particular meditation. All right, questions, comments. Michelle, over to you. I hope you all enjoyed my first story in our story corner. Right.
Kitty wants to know if you ever reconnected with the blind boy.
Good morning, Kitty. Which blind boy would that be? There have been a few.
The one that we talked about Thursday. That would yell, and you stood next to him.
Oh, Jonathan. Jonathan.
Yes.
Little Jonathan. Oh no. And I think he passed very soon after that. Thank you, Kitty, for asking that question. And for those of you who don't know that story, every time I think of that little boy, my heart bleeds, really. But I was very fortunate to be able to help him just by singing softly. If you want to know more of that story, go to this last Thursday. I don't know what date it is, actually, whatever it
was the
28th, 27th, 26th. It's 26th. And it's the Spirit World Sees, or you'll find it on YouTube. If you want to hear the rest of that story, if you like stories, which I do, I know my friend Dean does. I don't know if he's listening this morning, but I hope he's
Dean's on.
I hope you're feeling better, my darling. But this is the story corner, so we're going to be doing this, fairly often. Michelle, questions, comments, anything? Thank you, Kitty, for that.
Maggie is on.
Good morning, Maggie.
And she has got, I'm going to give you like 3 of hers all at one shot.
Go ahead.
The first comment she said is that she agrees that people are trying to make children grow to adults faster than they already are. It's a real nit with me. Let them be children in their age. I agree with that.
You see, I so agree with that. When I see little 10 and 11-year-olds wearing little crop tops and you know, sort of, I don't, you know, so much going on in the world, and you know, can we just allow children to be children for as long as possible? I've told Reese that he's not allowed to grow up until he's at least 20. I'm not sure he's going to take any notice of me, but we do giggle about it. I've told him he's my little boy forever. Yep, next.
Okay, next she said it's very exciting that she's going to be able to listen to Spotify while she's at work.
Oh, good. Oh, I do have to say, thank you for that, Maggie, but I do have to say, do not use these meditations, please. And it does say, it should have a warning there, right?
It starts off with it.
Do not play these when using machinery. Please do not play them when driving a car because you'll crash. They are meant to relax you. They're meant to put you in a whole other place, in a whole other dimension, where you can truly raise your level of consciousness, where you can truly be in a whole different place. So no using these things when you can't drive to work and listen to it. Please don't do it, because you'll find yourself drifting with the car. So that's a disclaimer. And if you do that, don't come to me, because I've told you. So, and it's also written up there quite clearly. Next question, Michelle.
Okay, here's the last one that you're going to get from Maggie until I get everybody else caught up.
Oh, okay.
It says, I used to live in New Hampshire and wanted to visit your Vermont site, but the ex was very disparaging and verbal about me wasting money to go to a place I didn't know to see someone I didn't know.
Who was that? Who was disparaging?
Her ex.
Oh, wow.
Her ex. She said, but he didn't realize I knew you or knew of you through all of your books, which I caught all sorts of problems when I bought one.
Oh. Well, you did say he's your ex, right, Maggie? So, hey, is there a question in there, or are you just letting us know? Because I'm glad you let me know. I'm glad you shared it with me. But he is your ex, I must remind you. You did say that, right? Maybe he's become, let's be nice and say, let's hope that he has become so much more enlightened. We can hope. Next question or comment?
I have a question for Maggie.
You have a question for Maggie.
Can you hold off to send in the dark chocolate cherries until we get back to working together instead of separate?
No. Don't listen to her, Maggie. Do not listen to her. This is a girl, Maggie, who doesn't even like chocolate. So why would we hold off on chocolate? All of a sudden she's acquired a taste for dark chocolate cherries. I don't think. No, absolutely no way. I'm not sharing my dark chocolate cherries with anybody. She doesn't like chocolate. So, you naughty girl. Don't listen to her, Maggie. All right, next. Michelle.
Chris is on.
Good morning, Chris.
She says, a journey towards healing is a fabulous meditation,
Thank you.
I still remember the daughter telling the story of her mother's experience.
Yeah, Chris actually was there in New Hampshire when that story was told to us, and she very graciously allowed me the next day to tell that story to the many hundreds, or I don't know how many there were. The room was jam full, or I can tell you. She allowed me to tell that story, and she then stood up in the middle of all of these people and verified that the story was in fact a true one, and added to my version of the story and told us a little bit more, which was such a blessing. So you know, anyway, all right. Thanks, Chris. Next.
Starshine is on. She says, "Good morning, Rosemary,
Good
Michelle, and Grey
morning,
Eagle."
starshine. I love that. I love every time I hear your name, I just have to sing that song. Yeah.
And she says, "What a beautiful surprise."
Really? What's the
Yeah, that
surprise?
we're on. We're on Saturday
Oh.
morning.
Oh, well, it shouldn't be a surprise if you got the email. Are you not on our email list? Because Michelle did send out the email to everybody. But I'm glad you're surprised. I hope you enjoyed the story. We'd love to hear how people, if you enjoyed it, or what if you've got any ideas of the kinds of stories you'd like me to tell on our story time session, or if you've got a story, we'd love to hear it. Email us, rosemary@rosemaryoutair.com. And if I love the story, or if there's time, we shall tell your stories as well. How about that? Next, Michelle.
Joy is on, and she says, "Good morning, Rosemary,
Good morning.
Michelle, and Grey Eagle."
Good morning, Joy.
Janice is on. She says, "Hello, everyone from Ohio. I'm off work and enjoy having the opportunity to watch live. I hope everyone is staying healthy and safe."
Oh, bless you. Thank you, Janice.
Peggy is on.
Morning,
She says,
Peggy.
Hi, Rosemary. Sending positive thoughts and warm wishes from North Carolina.
Thank you. Thank you.
I moved about 3 weeks ago and just now getting to watch your show. Hope all is well with you."
Everything is good with me. I actually spoke to a friend of mine this morning, who said, "Oh, you look really nice this morning." And I said, "Here's the thing about makeup," and I don't have any face makeup on at all. I've got lipstick, but I always do my eyes. I've always done that. Um, and it makes me laugh because no matter how awful you are feeling when you wake up in the morning or through the day, if you just put a little bit of makeup on, it's amazing how much better it makes you feel. But it's also masks for other people. Nobody really knows if you're dying inside, you just want to go back to bed because you feel really sick. Not that that's the case with me today, but a little bit of lipstick, a little bit of this and that. I actually am lucky because it takes me all of 2 minutes to put my makeup on. Michelle, would you say that's about right?
Yeah, it's about two and a half.
And that's it. Right. All right, next question. Anything else going on? Any comments, Michelle?
Let's see what we're up to now. And it's good to have Peggy back. She watched us for a while, and then with her move and everything, she hadn't been on.
Right, okay.
And then we've got Dean.
Good morning, Dean.
Hello.
How's you feeling? How are you feeling, my lovely?
Let's see if he's added anything. I'm not at the bottom, so.
Okay, all right. Oh, gosh. I've got an itchy nose. Does this mean I'm going to be vexed? Actually, I think it just means the fan is on above me and it's blowing dust in my nose. I think that's what it is. Okay, keep coming.
Peggy's saying that she uses the meditation music during her surgeries.
Oh, good. Good, I'm glad. Glad to hear it. It works, so that's good. Anything else?
Chris said that when she heard the story of the daughter telling the first-hand account of this, that she was surprised when the doctor asked the mother what she was listening to and he wanted copies of.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that piece, didn't I? Thanks, Chris, for reminding me of that. Yes, the doctor was so astounded about how well the surgery had gone, how well she'd come through it, and how well she'd actually been able to move through the pain and raise herself above the pain. And he was so impressed with that. He said to her afterwards, he said, "Could you please give me the name of the meditation that you were listening to?" He said, "I want to know what it is." And he did ask for copies of it. And we hope that he's suggested that other people use it. We hope, we hope, we hope. But why would a surgeon ask for copies if he doesn't intend to do it? So that would be an interesting follow through. Unfortunately, I have no way to follow through with that. But thanks, Chris, for reminding me about that. Yes, wasn't that an amazing trip in New Hampshire? And I remember that Cachorro, who is 14 years old in July, by the way, he was just a puppy. I'm not even sure if he was a year old. It might have been a year to 18 months old. Perfectly well behaved because I train my dogs. I like to have them, they're happier to be trained. They know where they are. I know where they are. They know where they stand. And they totally trust me. I'm always the leader of the pack as far as my animals are concerned. But he is the most amazing healer dog. I know some of you out there have got healer dogs as well. He is able to help me with my healing work, and I took him. I took him with me, and as I said to you, this enormous audience, it was a huge, huge audience, and the audience was amazed because even though I was walking through the audience, I was walking up and down the aisles. My little puppy, when I said stay, he stayed. See how terrifying I can be. He stayed. I don't know if you remember this, Chris, but he stayed and he sat, and I think more people were watching him than they were watching me work. But we went through the audience, and he didn't move. He was not allowed to move, and he stayed exactly where he was, sitting at the front and watching me like hawk eyes, watching every move I made, until at some point I actually called him to me, and he came, and then people were allowed to pet him and so on. And didn't we have a blast? And everywhere we went, we'd walk him through the streets. Of course, he walked to heel. He was perfect dog. And he everywhere we went, people just wanted to make a fuss of him and pet him. Aren't animals a great healer anyway? But he is specifically, he has talents as a healer, and he helps me with my healing work. So anyway, go ahead, carry on. Next.
Okay,
I don't know if
Karen's
Chris wants to say any more about that, but hey, keep it coming.
Karen is on, and she says, "Good
Oh,
morning."
good morning. I hope your mom is listening as well, Karen.
She says, "Mom and I are listening. So excited about this being released."
Hi, LJ. Hi, darling.
This healing meditation is a classic, and I know it has helped so many people. I remember this very true story.
Yeah, of course, Karen was there as well, right? Wasn't my friend Kay there from England as well? Can somebody help me with that one? I think she was, but let me know, Chris, because your memory is way better than mine. All right, next comments, questions, anything going on?
Twiggy Leaf said that she found the cassette tape on Amazon, but that's all so far, so it hasn't posted yet.
Oh no, you're going to be able to download it onto your computer, and I don't know who put the cassette tape on, but don't buy it because it's not me who put it on there. So don't get it. Wait for, how does it come out, Michelle? You download it, right, onto your whichever app you've got, your Spotify or your
Amazon,
iTunes or
Google.
Pardon?
Amazon, Google, iTunes, Spotify, and there's one more, but I can't remember what the name of it is off the top of me.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Don't get the tapes because, I did not put them up there. So other people tend to sell my books and get the royalties or get the money from them, which is very naughty. But apparently can't do anything about it. I've tried to call Amazon 1 trillion times. Anything that you see on Amazon that has my name on it has not been put there by me. So
except for the meditation CDs.
Except for the meditation, A Journey Towards Healing from today. So we're just waiting for them to confirm. We did have the date for today, the release date for today. So, just take a look from time to time throughout the day. We don't have any control of it anymore. So it's really up to whoever it is who's uploading it for us. Did I say uploading? Is it right? Uploading, downloading, whatever that is. Anyway, so we don't have any control over that now. We've just handed it over, and then it's somebody else's job to put it up there. But you should be able to get it. If not today, certainly you should be getting it. You should be able to get it tomorrow, right, Michelle, at the very latest. But
I really hope so. Yeah, I'm just waiting for them to give me the word that it's posted.
But you should be able to get it today. We haven't had confirmation yet, but this is a perfect opportunity for us to talk about how well people do respond to meditations. And again, I'm going to say, not just mine. I know mine are good because Grey Eagle inspires me, and they are wonderful. And I also know they're good because I've seen the results again and again and again and again. But there are other people out there who also do meditation. So go through, find one that works for you. Find the one that works for you. Sometimes some people like, you know, the ocean music, the waves crashing on the shore, and so on and so forth. Other people like, you know, flute music or what have you. Some people, I don't know, whatever is your thing. This meditation tape is me talking, guiding you. It is a guided meditation. So I am on there and I am guiding you the whole time, the whole way through. I am guiding you through the meditation, just as I would if I had a patient and I would be guiding my patient through the meditation. So you don't have to wonder, well, what do I do with it? It's not just something that you sit and play and think and pretty music, there you are. This is a guided meditation, which is very, very different from a regular meditation tape, which is perhaps just music or sounds and so on and so forth, which are great. They, you know, they do a great job. But for me, with my patients and with anybody that I'm trying to help through anxiety or stress or whatever's going on in your life, I like to talk. As you can see, I'm talking. I like to talk. I like to guide people through the meditation, and you will find it's my voice, but inspired by Grey Eagle, inspired by Wendy, inspired by those in the spirit world. It is a guided meditation which will sort of go all the way through that 45 minutes and take you into that space where you're able to raise yourself up above all of the anxieties of the world, even if it does only last for 45 minutes. And you can play it again and again and again. So, you know, it's not like, you know, I'm going to just decline. Somebody's trying to get through there. It's not like, you know, you only have to use it once a day. You can use it as often as you like.
Karen said that the really good thing about this meditation is the beginning is very informative.
Oh, it is?
It goes through a lot of, yeah, and it actually does. It goes through a lot of stuff with you.
Oh. Well, I feel as if we're spending the whole morning just promoting this meditation. It's story time, but I was inspired to tell this story because it is the day that this meditation is being released. I'm sorry, who else is on?
Jeff and Andrea from Maine. Yo, Jeff. Yes.
Hey, baby, how are you doing?
He says, good morning from Maine. Peace and comfort to all of you in Florida.
And just while I think about it, Andrew sent me a text yesterday and I haven't replied to it yet saying, are we all okay? And you can see we're all okay, right? But thank you, and I hope you guys are all okay as well. So, yep.
Aquila is on.
Who?
Aquila.
Oh, what a nice name.
Says, hello, Rosemary.
Hi.
I'm new to your show and looking forward to seeing more and from South Africa.
Oh, how lovely. Oh, I've been to South Africa. I've been to a few places actually in South Africa. So I wonder, Aquila, where you're from. Which town are you from? You know, you can always go, and this applies not just to Aquila, but to everybody out there who's listening. We hope we're saying your name correctly, by the way. You can go to YouTube. You can find, if you go into the Spirit World Sees All, I even have a little cooking channel on there. We have to do more cooking, Michelle. When all of this is over and done with, I'm going to do a whole batch of cooking for all of you. Um, my daughter's making chocolate mousse with my grandson today. She's going to be making meringues because I make the best meringues ever in the world, and she's got my recipe book. So we're going to be doing more of that. But do go back in YouTube and on my Facebook page, on my healing page. There's lots of, we've got 3 or 4 different pages, and you can listen to more. You don't have to wait until next time. You can go back and listen and see. We also do a Wednesday afternoon hands around the world, healing hands around the world, which is where I give some sort of guided meditations for people to use. So knock yourself out, Aquila. Go find out more about me. Take a look at all of the great shows that we've done. We also do a show which is called Everything is Attitude, which I do with my co-host Al Pisano, and we talk about people's attitude and how we can improve our attitude and what we need to be doing in these particular times. Let's go to our next comment or question.
Chris said that it's very true that Katura only had eyes for you, and the audience was amazed.
Yeah, he sort of does that. Yeah, he does that even now. He's sort of like, whenever he's awake, because he's an old boy now, but he's like, he only has eyes for me. You know that wonderful song? I can't even remember who sings it, but all of my dogs, if you work with your dogs, you train them correctly, and you are the leader of the pack, that's what they do. They focus on you. They're watching you, and they're watching your every move. And I must say also, with adoring eyes. Let's have before we get carried away. Let's have our next.
Speaking of dogs,
yeah, I can hear yours.
You guys can hear mine.
Yeah, that's all right. We don't mind. It's fine. Okay.
You're yelling at me right now. Karen would like to know do you think you will release Bob's interview?
Yes.
And
yes, that's one of the things we're going to release, and I should tell that story when we release it. But it is about a patient of mine, Bob, who had a brain tumor. I call him Bob the Builder because he was a builder, and he's probably still building actually when I think about it. But it's a great story, and when we release that, which is my daughter, let me tell you, my daughter hates to hear me talk, and she hates my meditation. She says, when you talk, you don't sound like you. I mean, I'm mom, so she's, sort of, and knowing that she really hates hearing me, she actually, we were driving from Vermont into New York one day, and I had this it's called A Conversation with Bob, and I had this thing. And I said, and I had to listen to it before I could give the go ahead. Yes, okay, that's perfect. We can publish that now. Great. And I said to her, we got in the car, and I said, I'm really sorry, but you're going to have to listen to this. It is my voice. It's too bad, but you're going to have to listen to it. So at some point during the journey, I put it on, and of course I had to listen to it attentively because I'm listening for any missteps or anything that I would like to change or correct or so on. But I got so involved in the interview, and it is an interview with a patient of mine, off the cuff, not planned. As I said about my meditations, we never plan them. We just are inspired in that moment to do what it is that we need to do. And when it was finished, I said to Samantha, there you go, you can breathe now. She said, well, actually, I'm really disappointed it ended, Mum. She said, I think that sounds like one of the best NPR interviews I've ever heard. So huge accolades from my daughter. That's a whole other one. We should go there in a few weeks' time, because it probably is going to be the last one to be done, to be uploaded or whatever, downloaded, uploaded, whatever. But anyway, there you go. Anything else, Michelle? We are coming to the end of our time, but go for it. Keep, if you've got questions or comments, we'd love to have them.
Maggie said, I could not find a Journey Towards Healing on Spotify as of yet, but when she put in your name, something came up called A Psychic Story and the Meaning Behind Soul Signs.
Really?
Well, I guess we should look into that a little bit.
Yes. You wouldn't write that down for us, Maggie, and send me an email, would you? Because we don't know anything about that one. You see, this is what happens. People put things up there. You think that when you buy something like that, you think I'm getting the benefit, but no, because we don't even know that somebody put it up there. It's very naughty to do that. I have to say, it's not fair, because like everybody else, I do have to make a living as well. But thank you, Maggie. Could you write, what is it called again?
I got it. A Psychic Story, the Meaning Behind Soul Signs.
I'd love to know what that's about. We can.
We will find out very soon.
We're going to find out very, very soon, and we're going to download it and see who, and we're going to try and find out who uploaded it and who is stealing my work, naughty, naughty people. But thank you, Maggie. So if any of you find anything else out there at the moment, please let us know. You can email us, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, because it is always a good thing to know what other people are up to and how other people are very naughty, and they shouldn't do things like that. I'm not even sure I've ever heard of that, to be honest. So there we are. So we're going to check it out. Anything else that do we have any other comments or questions? Thank you, Maggie.
She said for me to let her know when I'm back at your house for the cherries.
Oh, Maggie, don't you turn against me. She doesn't like chocolate. I keep telling you that. That was one of the first things she said to me, knowing that I was cooking.
Maggie said it has a great picture of you on it for that A Psychic Story, that it's got your picture on it.
Well then.
We'll find it. We'll find it.
Oh, we will find it. We'll check it out. We'll hopefully find out who put it up there, because I don't even know anything about that. Naughty, naughty, naughty people. Again, if any of you out there do find anything else that's going on in my name, please let me know, because if we don't know, we can't do anything about it. But we're definitely going to find that and check it out. All right. Anything else, Michelle? Anybody else?
I think we're good. Oh, Karen said that she found the meditations very healing for her when she was listening to it while she was recovering from her. It says ovation, sis.
It says what? Oh, well, when she was recovering from something or another, and we're glad. Let's not go there. Thank you, Karen, but thank you for that. Anyone else? Any other comments?
I don't know. I'm going brain dead. I'm done. Oh, Maggie says that she'll find something for me that is non-chocolate.
Oh, sweetheart.
And asked if I like cream puffs. And I do like cream puffs. I like pretty much everything but
Maggie,
chocolate.
don't use spoilers anymore. You spoil us enough, and we appreciate it. But don't do that. Now, all right, right. We're done with our first ever story time with Rosemary. We do hope you enjoyed it. We are going to be having more of these. Yay, Dean, because I know you love to hear me tell my stories. If you want more stories, I did actually tell 2 stories on last Thursday, which was the 26th or something, in our The Spirit World Sees All, because nobody could get through to the chat room, so I told a couple of stories. So please go in there and check out all of the previous stuff if you've not had it before. Thank you to all of you who are always with us, and thank you to all of you who are new. We hope you'll continue. Thursday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is our time to do The Spirit World Sees All. It goes from 11 a.m. until 12. It lasts for an hour, and you can go into the chat room. You can ask any questions you like, as long as you ask them politely, and we endeavour to do our best to answer as many questions as we can. We also, on Wednesday at 1:30 in the afternoon, we have our healing sessions, Healing Hands Around the World, where I ask people to join with me all over the world to send out healing. And that is somewhat of a guided meditation and maybe a story or two in there. I've got so many stories, I don't know what to do with them all, so I have to tell them, don't I? And we also then have our 8 o'clock on Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have our Everything is Attitude with Al Basano. We didn't do it this week because Al was not feeling great. So, and we are also now literally taking names for our online courses, our online classes. We have experimented with my fabulous class over the last year, and it's gone really, really well. I have the best students ever. They are amazing. If you want to know more about that, because we will be organizing and arranging new classes, and tried and tested now online. I've never done online before this last year. It works very well. We've had some great results. I know some of my students are listening, and thank you all for being so lovely. So we're going to be taking names. So if you want to be considered or you want to know more about our online courses, please email us. If you want to be on our mailing list, please email us. I'm going to give you the email in a minute. If you want to have healing for yourself, email us. Whatever it is that you want from us. If you want to know more about the books, if you want to know more about the meditations, if you want to know more about our upcoming what is it? I've forgotten. What do we call it, Michelle? Our upcoming
webinars.
Thank you. Our upcoming webinars, because we're getting on with that now. Please put whatever part of what you're interested in, please put it in the subject line. If you're interested in all of those things, just say all. When you put something in the subject line, it helps Michelle. She can put them in little boxes and little slots, and it helps us to organize and to get things going. So please, 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 put your whatever it is you're interested in. So if you want a consultation, you put consultation. If you want healing, again, healing. If you want to know more about books, meditations, and so on and so forth, again and again, put healing. If you simply just want to say hello, we like that too. If you have a story that you would like me to tell on our story time, by all means, let us have it. It can't be long. Do not send reams and reams and reams of stuff. We cannot deal with it. So please, please, please do not take forever with the story. But anything else that you'd like to know, you may email us, Rosemary. That's me. Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Again, please watch out for the first of our meditations going online on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and whatever else there is out there, and check it out. It should be up sometime today, and if not today, by the latest, it should be there tomorrow. In the meantime, thank you for joining us. Michelle, thank you for doing this remotely. We had no glitches today, did we? Did we have any glitches? No, we had no glitches. So there we have it. So,
and remember, share.
Oh yes, please. Would you? Yeah. When this is done, you'll see there's a little button saying share. Please share. Please send it out there. We love to have big audiences, so we want to share. And there are so many people out there who really do, especially in today's climate, they do need to have something to help them through their anxieties and through their stresses and strains and so on and so forth. So please share that information as well. I've loved this. I love telling my stories. If that wonderful girl who told us about her mother with the hand and so on, if she could contact us, email us, I'd love to say a very, very, very special thank you to her for telling us the story, and also for allowing me to write about it, and also for allowing me to share it. So until I see you all again, please have a very, very blessed rest of the day, everybody. I feel as if I've forgotten to tell you something, but I can't think what it is. So have a very, very blessed rest of the day, and please, all of you out there, uh, take a step back, breathe, raise your level of consciousness. Don't panic. The world is not, as it may seem, coming to an end. There's a wonderful story about Chicken Little. An acorn fell on her head and she thought the world was coming to an end. We have all of this stuff going on. The world is, I promise you, not coming to an end. Just remember, 98% of all people who get this thing recover. Let's put it in perspective. And I hope you do enjoy the meditation, because it really will help you to raise your level of consciousness and to just float. So have a very blessed rest of the day, and also please have a very, very wonderful and blessed weekend. And that's it. Now I have to find the button, which I think is in the top right. So you're going to see my finger sort of, it's like this big giant finger comes up. There's nothing I can do about it, but there we are. And